Lonely people. That's really bad. I just literally started the show off with the wrong. Oh my god. I started off with the Beatles song first off. Second off, wrong screen. And I was just like, we'll just start. What the heck? I don't even have any music playing right now. Hilarity ensues, everybody. And then I start playing a song that would get me a copyright violation. So we're going to start soon. I'm going to get some music up here, I think. George Joan P's in the house first. Good evening. It's going to be a fantastic show. I can just feel it. If I can just play some music. Let's do this. Oh my God, Jordan. Joan B. That is like the bane of my existence. People that do the first thing. I hate it. Look at. Stop singing music that could get you in trouble. That's not a good thing. Oh, this is annoying. Annoying. I found it. There we go. So we just go up one more and then select folder. Oh, isn't this thrilling radio / whatever the hell this is? Come on, you can do it. Come on. Oh dear. There's only one problem. I only hear it on one side, but that's alright. We won't need it for very long. Don't like that though. Oh. Let's see if this helps. I keep messing with things. Just leave things alone. Ronan, no, I don't think so. And also, I don't know why this is in mono. This is freaking me out a little bit on my Rodecaster. That's not come across in stereo though. And it's annoying me. Anyways, let's do this. Here we go.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show starring a binary trans woman born in the body of a non-binary atheist, trade unionist, equality advocate, and an Oako syndicalist that self-identifies as an unhinged beer pimp, outraged brigade commander, free speech police officer, SJW, and a bad faith agent of chaos.
Oh my God. This camera angle, I gotta change it. so y'all don't see my cheesecake. My quite literal cheesecake. Oh my God. So everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to Tea Party. My name is Marty Abernathy and yours is not. Because if it would be, that would be kind of weird. But yeah. Oh my God. So tonight on the show, we're going to talk about quite a bit. The biggest one that I'm going to have to pull up, actually. Let's go over to camera 2. Is that not working? Is that how you're going to be? Oh, silly Billy. All right, there we go. Doesn't work in studio mode. Odd. And here I am talking to myself. So, wouldn't you know it? And I seriously, so I'm just going to open with this. Here they are. It's 2021. 3 years until the next election. And they're floating this fucking balloon. Hillary 2024, given competition, she may be the Dems' best hope. Now, I want to know, let's just have a look. Let's see who Joe, the person that wrote this, is. Oh, he's on Fox News. A Fox News contributor. So that makes a lot of sense. He's a Fox News contributor, basically. He's a TV columnist at Mediaite. Anyways. All right, I find it very interesting because, first off, polls show Democrats want Biden replaced. You don't make these decisions 3 years out because you don't know what the polling's going to be in 3 years. I mean, it's just absurd. But two, Jordan Joan P says, yeah, that's what they said in 2016 too, and look what happened. Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if this happens, but because they don't care. The reality is that they're going to place who they want. Back when Bernie Sanders took them to court in Nevada, the DNC came out and said they had the right to do any backroom deals they wanted. They had the right to install whoever they wanted. That was the lawyer saying that. And that's the reality. That's the truth. They just don't want they don't want that to be focalized. And they talk about the people in the Democratic Party. The Democratic bench is about as deep as the New York Jets these days. Vice President Harris, she's at 28% approval per USA Today poll. And here's another thing that you have to remember about politics is that once you're given two choices, the polls are going to change. You're going to have people, by the way, Jordan Joan P, thank you for retweeting. Oh, that reminds me, we are going to talk about Bill O'Reilly. There's a funny in here. But they talk about the polling of different people, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg. And then down here, it literally says Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, not even 40 years old, and he has a supply chain crisis on his resume. And then it says Senator Bernie Sanders, ? Elizabeth Warren, ? Senator Cory Booker, ? If those are our options, why not Hillary? Because she's fucking lost. That should be the first one, because she's had her chance. She's fucking lost. Second of all, even floating this, there's this thing called the primaries that you have to fucking win. She will get annihilated. This is like supporting Remain in the UK in Brexit after the vote. People more and more see it as a reality that you're going to lose and that you've lost. She's a loser. She really is a two-time loser. She lost to Obama, and then she lost to Trump. So I mean, even when she made it to the last election, a nerd teacher flies in with, "Hello, we haven't learned anything after the last three elections, so we're going to run someone who lost, no one likes, and is liked even less now." Fantastic fucking idea. Brilliant. Brilliant. Oh my God. Oh, I want to share something with you guys. I think, let me pull this over here. Pooh. All right, we can bring this music down a bit. I gotta figure out why that's not in stereo, though. I don't like that. But yeah. And yes, this is a real possibility. Several polls have Trump topping Biden in a hypothetical 2024 contest. This is fucking a year into the presidency. Jesus Christ. He's been in office a year. I mean, I don't think he's going to do anything, but this is just a Republican wet dream, essentially. And that there is polls that would show more voters would pick Trump over Biden. One more possible sign that Hillary is dipping her toe in the 2024 pool comes in the form of her bizarre decision to read her 2016 victory speech for something called Masterclass. It is one of the most cringeworthy things you'll ever see. How is that a sign? Here we have a first lady, senator, and secretary of state, and a Democratic presidential nominee reading a speech for an election she lost. Of course, if the New York Times gave me an 85% chance of winning an election and I somehow lost to a guy who had never run for public office before, I'd have trouble absorbing it too. And that's the thing. I can believe that they're floating this, but at the same time, it's like you're not. I mean, you're not. It's not going to happen. Nerd teacher said, "It's the kids, people who are wrong. It's like comedians, you know. They don't think I'm funny anymore on campus because oh my god, oh my god. Do I have that in yes, yes. Oh my god, oh my god. Let's talk about this. John Cleese, let's play this.
Wonderful to have you on the program, John. I want to start by asking you.
Nice to be here.
I know that you're particularly interested in talking about cancel culture. I think it's fair to say. I understand, in fact, you're making a documentary about it. What is it about cancel culture that interests you?
Well, it's a relatively new phenomenon. And of course, it affects comedians because a lot of us do jokes that the cancel culture people, the woke people, don't think are right. Or
the woke people don't think are right. Oh my God.
Don't think are correct. So I've been asked to do the program. So I've been exploring it. I've been reading quite a lot of books and trying to understand what it's all about. But
here's the thing. Comedians like this happens all the time. It happened to Jerry Seinfeld. It happens to comedians all the time. You know what? When it starts happening, when they stop being relevant and they don't follow the flow. They don't follow the trends. They don't follow the kids. They don't follow society. They expect, that's the thing with money privilege. It makes you immune to the reality that is the world. No, it's not David Attenborough running.
It's quite a complex matter, and it seems to be boiling down to the fact that I think some people are rather overprotective. I mean, we all want parents to be protective, but we don't want them to be overprotective because that raises children who are not perhaps very well going to adapt to the real world. I think it's very important that
this is hilarious, by the way, because I know what's coming next. You don't, unless you've watched this, but it's hilarious. He's, whether you're protecting your kids from harsh realities of life.
Things should go wrong and that minor bad things should happen because that helps people to learn to become a little bit tougher when they go out into the world, which is not a terribly friendly place a lot of the time. And if we overprotect them, then I think that doesn't work very well.
But John, you know, some would say that what you're suggesting is that it's an old...
Why do you say but? Why do you say but?
Oh, it was just a turn of phrase.
Just explore what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah. That's precisely what
let's try
that's precisely what I'm about to do, if you would give me the opportunity to do that. I want to ask you, there are people out there who, having heard your views, would consider them to be old-fashioned and not taking into consideration the feelings of people who have been hurt by some of these comments. And I want to give you the example, for instance, in Britain, where racist behavior, for instance, was couched as a bit of banter. Is that acceptable in your view as a joke?
I think it's a very poor question.
He doesn't want to answer the hard fucking questions.
I'd like you to answer it.
Well, it's hard because it's so scattered and it has so many different ideas in it. And I don't know which place to start with to answer it.
What has happened to John Cleese? Because this is sad. It's not a hard question to ask. I mean, to answer. Yeah, I mean, as a comedian, if you're saying it's just a joke, man, it's just a joke. Because that's the response. Toughen up, man.
What I've said is the important thing is that people are protected to the right degree, not overprotected and not underprotected. So the question becomes, what is the right degree? Now, the practitioners of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a very successful therapy, which is used a lot to treat depression and anxiety in young people, say that the woke ideas are pretty much the opposite of what they use to make people less depressed and anxious. Now, it doesn't matter whether that's old-fashioned or new-fashioned or even from the early 12th century. That is a very interesting idea and needs to be explored without using these emotional terms like people being hurt and all this kind of thing.
Oh. What just happened here? It sounds like he was hurt. The irony.
Let's try to be a little bit more calm about it and use less emotionally loaded words.
He's triggered by words.
Are you saying that people
Now, I think you were going to ask me, are you going to ask me about being here in Singapore to do shows and in Bangkok, or is that at the back of your agenda?
No, we certainly did ask you about that, John. Why have you chosen Asia as a place to do these comedy shows, particularly when we're in the middle of a pandemic?
Well, it's very hard to plan at the moment, as you might have noticed. I don't know. You probably realize that sometimes a new variant comes along at very short notice and causes a great deal of disturbance.
Jordan Joan P. Oh, that's right on the money. Wait, you're giving hard questions. I thought this was just getting a ranty platform. And that's what these people are used to. That's exactly what these people are used to. Oh, wow. I just realized I can pin some of your comments, guys. So Jordan Joan P. We're going to pin that one. Oh, gotta love that. Nerd teacher said, please, Cleese, tell me how you want to enable kids to have access to a clear picture of the world so they can be bigots, I'm guessing. Yeah, and love these people all angry about emotionally loaded language. It's funny. The irony that he can't see himself.
It's very, very quickly. So these shows were arranged some time ago when there was a good chance.
Hold on. I wish I need to have it as a sound. That song. It wasn't me. I can do it on the counter. It wasn't me.
The Delta variant was coming under control. Then the Omicron one came up about 3 weeks ago, which of course changed it all. But our plans have been set way before that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, indeed, it does. Have you had to change your routine at all because of the pandemic or make adjustments to it?
No, I haven't started to write it yet because I don't do it for 3 weeks. And I have a great deal of material that I've sort of accumulated over the past 15 years. The first time I started doing this kind of show was 2006. So I'm going to choose the material that I think is right. But I've been asked to base it on a talk that I have, which is about why there is no hope. The main central point of which is the fact that one of the great problems these days is that everyone wants to be right and nobody really wants to listen.
Well, the problem is with the kids these days.
Listen to other people's opinions.
Are you, in that sense, if you could elaborate a little bit more about what that means when you think that people not listening to each other, is that your sense of what is happening?
Yes, very much so. I mean, the historians used to say about the English that we had a great ability for compromise, and that was why we were quite successful. I don't see much sign of that now. I just see a lot of Greeks on either side absolutely convinced that they're right, without really being interested in trying to look at the facts and the theories that are involved in these kind of decisions. And if you look at America now, and its highly polarized society, you realize that people really aren't listening to each other at all, because the Trump supporters watch Fox News and get one version of the news, and other people watch other channels and get a different version of the news. They both think that the version they're getting is right, which is naive.
John, I want to ask you about your thoughts on another comedian. I don't know if you know this American comedian, Dave Chappelle, who faced a huge backlash for his comments.
We're back on cancel culture. Yes, I thought we were going to be talking about shows and comedy, but I'm not interested in doing this interview anymore, so I'll leave you now. Bye-bye.
Okay, that's your prerogative.
Oh, Grandpa got mad. Grandpa Cleese got mad and had to go take a nap. Jesus. It's not to enter. The reason he is on this program, the reason people want to interview him isn't because of the shows he's doing. And I think that's probably what's hurt him more than anything. I do think it's fucking hilarious. Check this out. Oh my God. This is last month. John Cleese blacklists himself from Cambridge University. This is another one of these cancel culture fucks. Oh my God. This is exactly what they do. They cancel themselves and say they're the victims of cancel culture. This is it. This is what they do. It just blows me away. John Cleese's canceled appearances at Cambridge University after visiting speaker was banned for his Hitler impression. He said, I was looking forward to talking to students at the Cambridge Union this Friday, but I hear someone there has been blacklisted for impersonating Hitler. I regret that I did the same on a Monty Python show, so I'm blacklisting myself before someone else does. All fucking poor cancel culture. I mean, really, the people that say they have been victims of cancel culture are Kathleen Stock. She quit her job. She resigned. She wasn't fired. She wasn't canceled. Piers Morgan, again, quit his job. Wasn't fired. He was criticized on the air. Oh my God. It's always the same with these people. They're canceling themselves and then making themselves victims. It's hilarious. Something else that I saw on thehill.com that I thought was funny was this. Bill O'Reilly. Diminishing the Capitol riot could have never happened while he was at Fox News. Former Fox host Bill O'Reilly said downplaying or diminishing the seriousness of the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol is something that could never have happened during his time at the network. Fox News is a different place than it was when I was there, O'Reilly said Tuesday while appearing on Dan Abrams' primetime show, News Nation. I don't follow it that closely anymore, but when I was there was a discipline from management that diminishing the Capitol riot could have never happened. And I'll state that firmly on record. Bill, what's really unfortunate for you, my friend, there's this thing, it's called videotape. Well, we have a brief history. Let's have a look at this paragon of virtue, Bill O'Reilly.
Commentators like me have just ruined the country. I cop to that.
It's true. Yeah.
Right. I've ruined everything. Homeless people are all over the place, urinating and defecating in the streets, panhandling, and when they need money to buy booze or drugs, committing crimes. You have a child now, all right?
Yes, who, by the way, did not sign up to be brought up on national TV in a drug discussion.
Barack Obama has deep emotional ties to Islam.
That's what this gay marriage thing is all about. You can marry 18 people, you can marry a duck.
There's got to be some downside to having a woman president, right? Something that may not fit with that office. Liberal women and feminist women particularly, they're looking to be offended every 2 minutes. I'm just trying to process that milk thing and put you in Whole Foods searching for milk. That's a great image. Lena Dunham calls.
Rick, will you come over to talk about Lenny Kravitz and I'll mention your book?
I didn't hear a word she said. I was looking at the James Brown wig. I'm watching her and I'm going, is that her real hair? I should be listening to her.
Wearing a mini skirt and a halter top with a bare midriff. Now again, here you go. So every predator in the world is going to pick that up.
Yes,
You were
yes,
jogging.
I was jogging.
And you were actually sweating.
Yeah, it was hot as hell out.
Can we get video of that for next week?
Sure, no problem.
All right. No, I'm serious. Many women who get pregnant are blasted out of their minds when they have sex. They're not going to use birth control anyway. Both favor pretty much abortion at any time for any reason. And they hide behind the women's health issue. But that could be a migraine headache. You want me to give you my hard-earned money so you can have sex. When was the last time you saw a public service ad telling young black girls to avoid becoming pregnant? 72% of babies in African-American community are born out of wedlock now. Why isn't there a campaign by you and the First Lady to address that problem? White people don't force black people to have babies out of wedlock. Don't get pregnant at 14. Don't allow your neighborhoods to deteriorate into free fire zones. That's what the African-American community should have on their T-shirts. The solution to the epidemic of violent crime in poor black neighborhoods is to actively discourage pregnancies out of marriage. There is a violent subculture in the African-American community that should be exposed. It is racial profiling, but it's really criminal profiling. The reason Trayvon Martin died was because he looked a certain way, and it wasn't based on skin color, and that way is how gangsters look. Freddie Gray's lifestyle for many years led him to this terrible thing. The left sees white men as a problem. Left wants power taken away from the white establishment. How can anyone provide a job that pays a decent salary to somebody who can barely read or write, to somebody who can't speak English, to somebody who has tattoos all over their body? And many of them are ill-educated and have tattoos on their foreheads. It's blacks, you trap in the blacks. Slaves that worked there were well-fed and had decent lodgings.
Black Americans are starting to think more and more for themselves.
Because we had won a hellacious war, white America was kind of unified, and standards of behavior were very similar. That unification made it easier for society to function. But after 9/11, we pretty much dropped that race stuff, did we not? We pretty much were all Americans there, right? All right. I hear yes, I hear no.
It was like going into an Italian restaurant in an all-white suburb.
A lot of people don't know that you can't say the term Oriental anymore. My world is a fairly expansive one. I don't know any racists. When you deal with minority Americans, absolute minefield now. Most Americans are not racist. They're not.
Really? So how many black friends do you have? How many black friends do you have?
So you keep your mouth shut.
Or I'll boot you right off the set. You are a hack. Come on, you coward. You want anarchy. You are lying. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. suck it.
You know, you're snorting out there, and I want you to knock it off.
Fucking thing sucks.
Mr. O'Reilly, you lack good manners and you are rude. I am also sure you have some kind of sexual hang-up.
I think Marge was on to something. Here's the thing. This is absurd, Bill. I get that you're embarrassed by Fox News now that you're not sitting in that chair, but this is exactly the house that you built. And you are one of the chief architects of that house. You may think you can reform your image, but there's footage of the house you built as you were building it on Fox. Tucker Carlson walked right in and does almost the same show. In some cases, like the War on Christmas, it's an exact duplicate. Fox News is your legacy, O'Reilly. Live with it. Oh my God. And what I was saying about Tucker Carlson, this is Tucker recently on his show. It is O'Reilly-esque.
Terry, and what we're going to end up seeing, Tucker, is thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of Americans die. Those are the stakes of the game we're playing here. We don't need a military that's woman-friendly. We don't need a military that's gay-friendly, with all due respect to the Air Force. We need a military that's flat-out hostile. We need a military full of Type A men who want to sit on a throne of Chinese skulls. But we don't have that now. We can't even get women off of naval vessels. That should be step one, but most of them are already pregnant anyway.
What?
What?
But yeah, that's Bill O'Reilly's show. Literally, they just went on keeping the same topics, the same energy, and just got a different host. So saying that it wasn't like that when I was there, bullshit. It was exactly like that, Bill. And you're full of shit. Mel in the chat, Melanie Davis in the chat room. I shouldn't call her Mel because that's too informal. We are friends, good friends. But Ronan says, "Oh no, awkward dinners down at Leopards eating people's faces manner." Oh, and the thing is, at the end of the day, wait. I wanted to talk about something totally different. I need to download a picture though, because I realized today the actual picture is. Do you all know who Ben Garrison is? I'm just curious. I know who he is. But I want to save this message. And then I'm going to no, that's not the one I wanted to save. All right. Let's see. Okay. So Nerd Teacher says, I wish I didn't. Well, we're going to go into a little Ben Garrison. The thing is that, and that's what I was talking about. Want to show. Yeah, Ronan. Yes. So first off, so I found this, and I thought it was the actual picture. Oh my God. Oh, don't do that. We don't want to save that. I wanted to see if I can blow this up a bit. Let's see. I think I can do it. No, I can't. But yeah. So it says staining the sheets of America. And I should have known because the font is bad here and the color matching here isn't very good. So, what this actually says, I have the original that I went and looked at. It's dissolving the fabric of America. And instead of Marxist cum, it's Marxist acid. Now, first off, that doesn't look like acid. You don't have a white milky substance. I don't know of any acid that's white milky substance. And I was having this conversation, by the way. I'm gonna have one of my favorite cartoonists on the show. I probably should learn how to pronounce his name by the time I have him on the show. That would probably help. But I think it's I'm looking for him on my little Barry Deutsch or I don't want to say douche. But he did this brilliant comic back in the day. Let's see if we can find it. DEUTSCH Christian Conservatives and Radical. I don't know if it feminist or easy mistake to make. I think I should bring it up. So this is the cartoon that he did that really brought me into his world. It says, "Excuse me, I overheard what you said on your cell phone. I totally agree. A transsexual just isn't a woman." And the other person says, "Oh, well, thank you. It sometimes feels like the whole idea of being a woman is being attacked." Exactly. I'm sorry, but there's more to being a woman than wearing a dress or having some surgery. Yes. There's something essential that men just can't buy from surgeries or from surgeons. You know what I really hate? I hate the word transphobia. Me too. The word is a scare tactic they use to silence anyone who disagrees with the transsexual agenda. This is so nice. I love meeting other radical feminists. Radical feminists? Are you kidding me? I'm a conservative Christian. That's fucking brilliant. But did nerd teachers trying to hit me on how to pronounce his name? Are you saying it's Deutsch? I should probably look this up before I interview him. And I do love him. Like literally, he made this cartoon in October of 2008, and I've been using it ever since. It's a brilliant cartoon, and he's a brilliant cartoonist. And I mean, things like this are right to the point. This, I'm going to pull this over from my secret browser. Is his latest. He says in the first frame, it says, "Are you wealthy and famous? Are you a reactionary, but somehow your SJW boss hasn't fired you? Please let me be a victim. Not to worry. You can still be a martyr for free speech with these easy ways to be canceled." And there's a Kathleen Stock looking person that says, "Other academics are criticizing my work. That can only mean I've been canceled." Andrew Sullivan type character here says, my coworkers don't like me, so I'm resigning to start my own incredibly lucrative media site. In other words, I've been canceled. My next book got panned, canceled. My $20 million Netflix special was criticized, canceled. Mocked in a cartoon, canceled. Hey, some non-rich people have actually been fired, which clearly validates my claim to being a victim. So his cartoons are totally on point. And what blows me away is Ben's. Like, what the fuck? Like, I honestly, I don't fucking get the point. I mean, to me, it feels like when I go into the modern art museum and I see a lot of the modern art and I'm sitting there going, is this actually art? Because it doesn't seem like it's art to me. Because it doesn't have a fucking point. And that's when I see Garrison, like these comics are very pointed. They have a story, they have a flow, but there is no flow in this shit. It's this. That's what the original looks like. But still, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Marxist acid. Okay, tell me, what does this mean? What, a fucking pumpkin? What is a pumpkin? What is Halloween? I mean, if you were saying Christmas was canceled or whatever, we all know that's bullshit. But if you were saying that, at least you would be consistent. I mean, what the fuck? Like, I don't get this image. I don't know what it means. Like, I kind of get, how is Marxism? I could see education. If you were saying education was infiltrated, okay. But fucking Jefferson, he canceled himself. And like most of the fabric of America is apparently the church, and it's getting a huge amount of jizz all over it. Of Marxist jizz. They tell on themselves all the time, but I don't get the fucking pumpkin, by the way, or really the NFL. I get the Pilgrim's hat because they're basically just saying the founding of the country, it's Marxist because we're not, I mean, basically what this boils down to, and what a lot of this boils down to, is they want to make this, it's always going on somewhere in the background. I mean, before it was cancel culture, it was, that's politically correct. And all politically correct or cancel culture, whatever you want to call it, it's all about A, accountability, and B, not being an asshole. White men have been able to be an asshole for such a long time. And this brings me on to another point. I'm gonna play a TikTok that I made. I'm gonna play a few TikToks that I made today. This one's about Jordan Peterson. Check this out.
To do without men. You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up. These men, they're doing impossible things. They're under the streets, working on the sewers. They're up on the power lines in the storms and the rain. They're keeping this impossible infrastructure functioning. This thing that works in a miraculous manner. They work themselves to death. And often literally, it's very useful to tell everyone, not just men, that they have an important role to play, a necessary role, and that if they act properly and honestly and forthrightly, that they can put their lives together and they can help their families and they can make their communities better, and that that's not toxic masculinity, that appalling phrase. To do without men.
That appalling phrase. I had so much fun making that. I've watched that about 7 times already, and it still makes me fucking laugh. There are some things that I do for y'all, like this show, but there are some things like this video that I did strictly for myself, so I can watch it and fucking laugh. The funniest fucking thing though is I made this TikTok at about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd gotten out of bed. I'd said I'm just gonna fucking make this in my dressing gown, or as they call it in America, a robe, and or in the United States. I gotta stop saying that. My girlfriend gets really upset when I say America because South America is America. But it's it's hilarious. So, you know, I'm squirting a fucking water bottle or the water thingy in my face and it's all wet and I fucking got eyeliner on what's left of last night's eyeliner, blah, blah, blah. And I hear this knock at the door. I go answer the door. It's the fucking police. They said, we heard you were playing music, so we thought you might be up. And I'm just fucking soaked in the face with water. Anyways, it made me laugh. Oh. But this made me.
Is a white person ever allowed to say the N-word? Like,
so this person says, and this is for the African Americans on TikTok, and basically he says, "What can a white person ever say the N-word?"
No ER, just like in the homie context.
So in watching this video, I just kind of had a revelation. Watching another creator's content, and they were talking about Modern Warrior and him saying, "Hey, colonizer." And like this whole question is a symptom of white people being colonizers, not just of land, but of culture. We are never told that we can't have something. And when we are told that we can't have something, we go and fucking take it. So, my fellow white people, when you sit there and say, I can't be a colonizer, I haven't colonized any place or anything. Anytime you ask this question, you're being a colonizer.
Is a white person ever allowed to say the N-word? Like, no ER?
Like, that kind of blew me away when people were... I was just like, it when you're talking about colonization, I never thought about it in the aspect of never like it's like white people never ever being told no, never being told they couldn't do something. And they always want it And if you say no, they're like, they want it more. And why can't I have it? You have it. Why can't I? And I'm just like, fuck me. This makes no fucking sense at all. So it's one of those things. I'm just, anyways, let's get back to, this is kind of, something, around Jordan Peterson, that I think is important.
Oh, hell yes. Bye-bye critical race theory. I'm just so happy to see people finally striking back against cultural Marxism. What the hell is cultural Marxism? It's complicated, but basically there's a conspiracy by an elite group of academic Marxists to undermine Western culture and Judeo-Christian values through promoting globalism, progressivism, and that sort of thing. Oh, you mean cultural Bolshevism? The hell is cultural Bolshevism? It's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory invented by the Nazis to convince the German people that a small group of Jewish Marxist intellectuals were responsible for global communism. It was used to convince clergy, business leaders, traditional conservatives that there was a growing threat from the left and that only the fascists could stop it. Okay, but that was like 70 years ago. This is now. Then after World War II, it got resurrected in the 90s by anti-Semitic weirdos like Pat Buchanan to try and convince people of a global Marxist conspiracy. Okay, so you're saying... I'm saying it's weird to hear a debunked anti-Semitic conspiracy theory literally invented by the Nazis entering the conservative mainstream.
There you go. It's fucking... these people can't think up a fucking new thought. Oh my god. And I'm going to play the first line to this song because in context it needs to be heard.
To the niggas, this is dedicated to the niggas. This is dedicated to the niggas.
So this is a song from Dr. Dre. It's the beginning of a song, of one of Dr. Dre's albums. I think it's The Chronic. And I want you to tell me what you noticed. I'm gonna go ahead and play the rest of this video, but I think it becomes obvious. This sound effect is being used continuously. I just turned it down because you don't need to hear that over and over and over again. You get the context. This is on TikTok. Oh, you just can't fucking leave anything alone. It's mine. I should be able to use it. And there are people that are doing this in terms of hairstyles, and things like that, going after black fishing, Asian fishing. Basically, if you don't know what it is, it's black fishing. It's a takeoff of catfishing. Which, if you don't know what catfishing is, it's basically looking one way in a pic and actually being another in person. That being said, these people, there are white people that are appropriating black culture. They're appropriating box braids, especially, which is hilarious because unless you have the texture for box braids, it will destroy your hair. If you have straight white-ish type of hair, box braids are going to kill you're going to be bald essentially by the end of it. So anyways, but there's a creator on on TikTok that has a genius, Lizzie, I think her name is. She has a perfect answer to this. Let's turn that back up.
Into the tarnation. No, but that's literally so true. Can we do it? Can we trick the white people into being white so they can stop snatching shit from everyone else? Like, all we have to do is collectively get together and start using WAVE consistently on this app for like a week. And all the whites who lurk looking for the newest trends are going to be like, oh, that's what's cool and hip and popping right now. Immediately, they will drop their black sense and start with the what in tarnation. Well, twist my nipples and slap me on the grill. Skating on thin ice, pal. It's in here, Buster. All we got to do is start talking like that for a week, guys. Trust me. Let's lead them out of our pond and into their own. If we can convince white people that white things are cool, they will do it. And then they'll leave us alone. All in favor, say aye.
What in tarnation? Oh my God, that's hilarious. What in tarnation? Anyways, we're going to move on. Some random geek pulls up late. That's all right. That's all right, geek. You've only missed some funny parts of the show.
Something that I've recently and unfortunately
I thought this was a really good post about TERFs. Or transgender criticals.
been made aware of is the existence of this app that was made by and for TERFs. It's called Giggle, and it's marketed as a female-only social media platform. With female-only, of course, meaning cis women only. Trans women are barred from using this app. And to be honest, I'm not really surprised that this exists. TERF-run communities have been a thing for a couple of years now, from the now defunct gender-critical subreddit to sites like Over It and Spinster. But the thing about this app that stood out to me and made me want to make a video about it is their verification system. In order to confirm that the people signing up for the app are indeed cis women, Giggle uses facial recognition AI technology to scan your selfies and determine if your face is female enough. As if there wasn't enough irony in a group of so-called gender-critical feminists designing their woman-only app in all pink and naming it Giggle, you also have the added ridiculousness of the fact that this app's unique selling point revolves entirely around the standard of your appearance is what makes you a woman. So not only does this app perfectly demonstrate how TERFs don't actually care about deconstructing or challenging gender, but it also shows how, at the core of TERF bioessentialism, is white supremacy and racism.
Here's the thing. This was brought out so many fucking times and has been brought out so many times. I mean, this is British transgender critical, because I'm not calling them gender critical because they're not critical of gender. They're critical of transgender people. So they're transgender critical. A lot of takes on the Semina decision in my timeline, leaving aside whether it's fair. Yeah, leaving aside doesn't fucking matter. We're just leaving that aside. That doesn't matter. I'm mindful of those with complete AIS who discover it late, or children. AIS, I believe, is androgen insensitivity syndrome, I believe, or children with it, negotiating new self-conceptions, or parents of children. I talked to some parents offline. Oh, well, whether it's fair or not, I'm not going to talk about that. TERFs are predictable, if anything. And here's another skeptical mom. Wow, are we supposed to believe that these two obvious males in the 4x4 women's relay team are women? More cheating in women's sports. They just keep coming. These are cis women. And again, it's fucking racist. And this is Gotham Shitty's point. And is totally on point.
Because if you get right down to it, guessing the gender of somebody based on their facial appearance is ultimately about playing a game of determining masculinity or femininity. Because there is no set biologically female face, just a range of characteristics and attributes that we commonly associate with femininity and therefore women. And as many feminists of color have pointed out time and time again, our process of associating things with masculinity or femininity is incredibly racialized. Like the features that we commonly consider feminine, bigger eyes, smaller noses, heart-shaped faces, these are all typically white European features. The frame of reference for what makes a female face is built only around white women, and AIs are perfectly capable of replicating that Eurocentric framework. For example, one study found that facial recognition systems from companies like IBM and Google had a more difficult time guessing the gender of pictures of darker-skinned women. So I wouldn't be surprised if Giggle's verification system ended up replicating the same results. Anyways, the whole idea and execution behind Giggle is one of those instances in which TERFs will, knowingly or not, tell you exactly what their movement is actually about. They're not genuinely interested in criticizing gender or uplifting women's voices. They're just interested in hating trans women. And that hatred is propped up by this idea of biological womanhood that not only excludes trans women, but also women of color. It's an idea that's forged through the same white supremacist, misogynist concepts of gender and sex that they, as feminists, should be fighting against. Here are my cited sources as well as some further reading recommendations.
So yeah, she's spot on. And that's the thing. As far as TERFs go, I'm no longer going to call them TERFs because the acronym stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. They may have had their beginnings, or they did have their beginnings. You can go over to Trans Advocate and see that post by Kristen Williams. But they had their beginnings in the feminist movement. The term was coined by radical feminists to delineate between trans inclusive and trans exclusive radical feminists. But they've asked us not to call them TERFs, and I'm fine with that because they're not feminists, really. If they are feminists, they're bad feminists. I don't want them linked with any feminism that I am a part of. But they are not critical of gender. When toys are gendered, when earplugs are gendered, all these things when clothes are gendered. They're not out there protesting these things. They literally use them. They use those gender stereotypes to tell which one of these, in their racist rants, which one of these Asian athletes are men. It's just unbelievable. But I'm no longer going to call them TERFs. It's not factually correct. They're transgender critical. So from here on out, I'm just going to call them transgender critical. That's factual. It's on point. As far as I can see, gender critical thought leaders don't critique gender as a concept. Rather, they're critical of our existence. We are portrayed as a threat, as a conspiracy of Big Pharma and the Jews. And if you don't believe me, we can just come right over here and take a look. It is who? Who is it? Who is the transgender conspiracy? Whose fault is it? the here we go. Oh God. Great piece by Helen Lewis about the real meaning of TERFs. Women are talking, so we don't like what they're saying, so they should just shut the fuck up or else. And underneath it, it says, "Welcome to the age of ironic bigotry where hatreds are cloaked. If you understand why Zionist has become an anti-Semitic code word, there's no excuse for calling women TERFs." It's like, yeah, you can tell on yourself. And here again, it's the Jews. It's the Jews. George Soros, the money behind the transgender movement. Oh my God. They're not challenging gender norms at all. They're upholding. They uphold the system. They want to keep the system in place. That's the bottom line. Anyway.
I'm already in hell. I live in a country where half the people think that school shootings and children dying is just the price we have to pay for gun freedom. Where those same people care
Oh, I love this. I'm just already in hell.
more about a non-sentient clump of cells than living, breathing humans. I live in a country where half the people are more likely to believe in JFK Jr. rising from the dead and Hillary Clinton drinking baby's blood than they are to believe in climate change, systemic racism, and COVID-19.
I'm already in hell, God damn it. But oh dear God. Oh, that reminded me. Speaking of hell, I saw this video.
Be honest, who do you call when you were at your lowest?
Nobody. I'm a man. The reason men feel as though they can't cry, they can't express emotion, and they have no one to turn to is because of their own misogyny. Let's think about it real quick. Let's talk about the men in this video, right? Considering what they're saying, I assume that if they were to cry in front of their homeboys, what would happen? They would probably be called a pussy, a girl, because expressing emotion is considered feminine and weak. Men are taught that the worst thing a man could be is feminine, and that is due to misogyny. Until men disconnect themselves from the idea that being feminine is bad and disconnect themselves from the idea that expressing emotion is feminine and that is bad, the issue is never going to resolve itself. Y'all need to start talking amongst each other and say, I want to be vulnerable with you, but you can't call me a pussy if I cry. All of y'all need to unlearn your misogyny. Like, that's the thing. And yes, obviously women are complicit. Duh. But it has to start with y'all.
And this is roughly on the same point.
There's a video going around of a bunch of guys talking about how they're alone and have nobody to turn to in their moments of need because they're men. It's a sad video because the tone is this very beaten down, end of the rope, hopeless confession of pain. I think this sentiment is becoming more and more popular with men. A lot of these guys end up running to these Jordan Peterson types who present this very sympathetic posture towards the plight of men today. But what a lot of them don't realize is that that sympathy is a mask for what is really just a well-crafted defense of the system that's breaking men in the first place. People who are ruining men are men, plain and simple. The masculinity that most men are presented with these days is nothing other than a well-crafted recipe for self-sabotage. Who's responsible for this idea that a man has to be the sole provider for his family? Well, every man that refused to hire a woman to do a man's job. Who taught you that it's masculine to grit your teeth and get shit done no matter the personal cost to yourself or your relationships around you? The same men that taught you how to compensate for your pain with productivity. Who taught you to fetishize self-reliance in such a way that now you have nothing to show for your life except for what you can do and what you can earn? Who taught you that it's not masculine to talk about your feelings?
This is patriarchy, man. This is literally how it fucks men.
To set boundaries for yourself. Probably the same men that didn't want you talking amongst yourselves while you worked for their profit. Who taught men to sit around and worship their fathers and their grandfathers for their workaholism? The reality is that most men today are being lied to by men that don't give a shit about them, and they're worshiping them for it. And so they convince these men that they're taking care of them when really all they're doing is they're making them foot soldiers and stuffing them in the foxholes of the patriarchy to fight the war so that they don't have to. So these men just keep looking to their alpha leader thought daddies to tell them where the boogeyman is. They blame women, feminists, woke culture. If you want a conspiracy about who's out to ruin men, ask yourself this question. Who benefits the most from men staying exactly the way they are now? It's not feminists. It's not the woke. It's not people out there asking for equal opportunity. It's the men that rule over you, that take your time, your attention, and they weaponize your frustration to make you run into the comment sections of women and be misogynists. It's the ones that convince you to halt all progress. It's the ones that convince you that fair compensation is a coward's ask and the real men work hard and don't complain. The thing that men don't want to admit to themselves is that the patriarchy is also harmful to men. If you want to be a man that is respected and loved and reliable, the first step would be stop volunteering to defend the castles of men that will never let you in the front gate.
And that is on fucking point. You know, what really blows me away more than anything, I mean, even something, I don't know why that, oh, there I am. One thing that blows me away is when it comes to like, even going into a man's restroom, the difference between men and women's bathrooms is pretty immense, and it was jarring at first for me, because when you go into a women's restroom, women talk to each other, and men generally, unless they're drunk and they're drunk yelling at each other, they don't talk to each other when they're going to the bathroom. You know, you'll get your ass kicked if you're talking to somebody while you're pissing that you don't know. And it's that kind of thing. I'm just like, but talking in general is not something you do in the men's bathroom. And it's just the opposite of that. And I've had to learn that you have these conversations. But it's because, you know, that's what faggot do. And it literally is, there's less of a bonding between men because of men. And I thought that was so fucking on point. So on point. Some random geek says, I always see the R as reactionary, not radical. Nothing of their position is radical. But I agree, they are not feminists either. And you could say they're shitty feminists when it comes to the transgender critical. But I want to specifically say what they are, because they're wanting to frame this as they're critical of gender, and they're not. They're critical of transgender people. So yeah. I wanted to look at, oh my God. So I wanted to share something with you guys. So I saw this and I thought it was very interesting. It said, I'm a little tired of the overwrought soul searching among online leftists about what the heck happened to Glenn Greenwald. To be honest with you, even setting aside the fact that the guy has always been a kind of libertarian dipshit and was never anti-capitalist, there's a long storied history of hack public intellectuals and influencers getting filthy stinking rich by left jacketing reactionary ideas and selling conformity to conservative ideology as counterculture. I mean, shit, at least David Horowitz actually raised money for the Black Panthers day school before he cashed out. Glenn was a super patriot when the Iraq war started and was shilling for noted cracker shitbag Ron Paul as late as 2013. The truth is, nothing happened to Glenn Greenwald. He's just got a few million new reasons a year to tell you why fascism is actually the left, the real leftism on Tucker Carlson's propaganda hour. And I went and looked, and his quote during oh, by the way, here's another one. George Soros, the money behind the transgender movement. Oh my God. That is just so fucking gross. Oh my God. That's just like so gross. But let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. Because I think it's on this. I think it's on this browser. Let's have a look. Oh, here we are. This is Glenn Greenwald. Like it was said, talking about progressives. Come on, Web Archive. Is talking about Ron Paul and in 2013. I mean, it's fucking absurd. While that's loading, because it's being grumpy about loading, it is from. But yeah, I gotta see. I gotta be able to see. Yeah, here we go. Let's make myself tiny again. So this is Glenn Greenwald, progressives and the Ron Paul fallacies. And basically, he's chilling for Ron Paul. Just like the guy's an obvious shitbag. Nerd teacher said he laundered his image with the Independent after he defended a Nazi's free speech. With the Intercept after he defended the Nazi free speech. And he's always been on my radar because he's basically TERF supporting. But he literally, Glenn Greenwald, wrote in his book, How Would a Patriot Act? I had not abandoned my trust in the Bush administration. Between the president's performance in the wake of the 9/11 attacks and the swift removal of the Taliban in Afghanistan, and the fact I wanted the president to succeed, because my loyalty is to my country and he was the leader of my country, I still gave the administration the benefit of the doubt. I believed then that the president was entitled to have his national security judgment deferred to, and to the extent that I was able to develop a definitive view, I accepted his judgment that American security would be enhanced by the invasion of this sovereign country. That's Glenn Greenwald. And what it always boils down to is these people have no center. They have no morals. It's all about furthering a narrative that can build them up. And that's what he's done here. And he's just trying to move on to the next right-wing grift. So, not shocking there. Not fucking shocking at all. Oh, here's one that I thought was funny.
What? Communism? In the Bible? I'll hear no such thing. All it says is all who believed were together and had all things in common. They would sell their possessions and goods and distribute the proceeds to all as any had need. And now the whole group of those who believed were of one heart and soul, and no one claimed private ownership of any possessions, but everything they owned was held in common. Damn it.
Oh, yeah. It does seem like Jesus was a communist there.
Here's the thing. If I say that Jesus is a communist, I'm not actually saying he followed one of a set of fully formulated economic, political, and philosophical doctrines developed in the 19th and 20th centuries. I'm not actually saying that Jesus participated in the October Revolution or the Paris Commune. I'm saying that there's significant philosophical overlap between the teaching and practice of Jesus and the teaching and practice of communists throughout history. Because that's the thing. As much as we may have it drip-fed into our consciousnesses that communism is an evil ideology developed by one delusional man called Karl Marx in the 1800s, it actually has a far longer history than that. And sure, Marx is arguably the key thinker in that, but he's not the only thinker. And in case you think I'm being disingenuous here, scholars of the Bible regularly use the term communism to refer to the practices of the early church, just as Marx did.
I thought that was really on point when it comes down to socialism.
Welcome to my new post entitled Socialism is More Than Karl Bloody Marx. So disclaimer, I'm not a Marxist. I don't particularly like Marx. I have read his work, but that was kind of more out of a sense of duty considering my field of study. I also have a graphic novel version of the manifesto, and I'll give you a sneaky peek at the end of this video. It's fabulous. So, socialism is more than Marx. So Marx and Engels created this scientific socialism, right? And it was an alternative to approaches to socialism that existed at the time. Ergo, socialism preceded Marx and Engels. Basic point, right? And many aspects of Marx's approach are abhorrent to modern socialists. For example, Marx argued that the only way to achieve socialism was through violent revolution, which is pretty shitty for women, for vulnerable groups like the working classes, and for minorities. It's also kind of difficult as a woman to fangirl over a guy who didn't even consider our existence in his fancy future until someone pointed it out to him and showed how useful we could be for the revolution. So Marx and Engels were also decidedly and willfully ignorant about any period of time or any society outside of the European capitalist system that they were analyzing. Like, they barely make even casual references to the Middle East, which was a huge center of civilization, and they ignore the existence of communes in pre-colonial South America. They ignored the existence of Africa almost altogether. That said, Marxists after Marx have done a great job at writing women and people of color into Marxism. And I guess that's kind of my whole point, is that Marxism got way better when Marx himself stopped writing it, or at least when he incorporated other people's ideas into it. To be fair to the man, he aged well, both as a person, like in later life, he got better at addressing the women question, for example, and as his theories evolved after his death, you can see that they get stronger. And to be honest, this is kind of the strength of socialism as an overarching ideology. It constantly receives new ideas and new information and just runs with it. Like, some foundational socialist principles remain constant throughout time and space. Even some of Marx's ideas have remained scarily relevant to today's society. For example, Marx argued that the way capitalism is set up has reduced society to a collection of individuals who are too wrapped up in their own struggles to care about the struggles of others, because others are competition or not worthy of success. Sound familiar? But it's this dynamism, this diversity that makes socialism so strong. And it's why you can't attribute any failed attempts at socialism to any single unified concept. Like, even Marx's socialism is just one among many. And here is a picture of the capitalist machine jacking his Big Ben off all across London.
That's pretty amazing. Nice. Very nice. I love open bookshelf on TikTok. She's amazing. I don't always agree with her, but I think her points are pretty good. So what are we gonna? Let's. I thought this was pretty funny.
California is planning a new gun control law modeled after a restrictive abortion ban in Texas. The proposed law would let private citizens sue manufacturers, sellers, or distributors of assault weapons for at least...
This is so fucking genius. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but making the argument Yeah, because basically what they've done is banned abortion on a loophole and then used that loophole to ban all abortions. And I think I think the logic is sound to use the same argument about guns.
$10,000 per violation. It's based on a controversial Supreme Court ruling which allowed Texas's Republican proposed abortion ban to stay in place. That ban avoided normal legal challenges by enabling private citizens to enforce it instead of state officials, allowing Texans to sue anyone who helps a woman get an abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy. California Governor Gavin Newsom said Saturday he would work with legislators to draft a similar gun control proposal to, quote, protect people's lives, where Texas used it to put women in harm's way. While California banned the manufacture and sale of many assault-style weapons for decades, a federal judge deemed it unconstitutional and overturned it in June. While allowing the Texas law to remain in effect, the Supreme Court ruled that abortion providers can continue suing to block it. Expressing concern over the decision, U.S. President Joe Biden said it was still encouraging that the court would allow those legal challenges.
Biden. Oh my God.
Oh, hell yes. Bye-bye, critical race.
DeSantis down in Florida. Look, I mean, he's doing much the same type of bullshit rhetoric. Oh, by the way, can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? Russia says it may be forced to deploy INF in Europe, which stands for Intermediate Range Nuclear Missiles or Firearms or whatever INF stands for. Anyways, but basically, Russia said it may be forced to deploy intermediate range nuclear missiles in Europe in response to what it sees as NATO's plans to do the same. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybinov told Russia's RIA news service in an interview on Monday that Moscow would have to take steps if NATO refused to engage with it from preventing such an escalation. And here's the thing. Like, can you imagine if Cuba had become a colony of Russia? Oh my God. Or of China. Can you imagine the outrage and the fomenting for war? You know it would happen. But literally, you have these same people talking about how it's so awful. Russia's being so dickish about all this. You've literally got troops in the fucking Black Sea. I mean, you've got people in their territorial waters that have no businesses being there. And whenever I see these news, these news things here, U.S.-backed SDF forces carry out deadly operation in eastern Syria. I'm like, God damn. What the fuck? When you don't have two pennies to put together, why in the fuck you have a $758 billion defense budget and doing this kind of shit? Why? Why are you doing this? It makes absolutely no fucking sense. There are plenty of people out there that are suffering and you're not doing jack shit because you say we don't have the money, yet you're going to go over and bomb fucking Syria. It's absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. I thought this was pretty on point.
That's right.
too.
Let's teach white kids to be ashamed for nothing they did. Not only is this not critical race theory, but critical race theory is not being taught in schools, it's not being taught to kids. I've taken critical race theory classes. I've been taught by critical race theorists. First off, what is a theory? A theory is an idea or a set of ideas that helps you solve a problem, make an argument, or address a larger concept, like the theory of relativity or the theory of evolution. The most complicated theory that you're going to learn in grade school is the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and it's supposed to help you, I don't know, talk this guy, no, I don't know. Critical race theory is a set of ideas and concepts in the field of legal and educational studies. I had to take electives on purpose to encounter CRT in school. Thinking that your children are being taught critical race theory, it's literally the equivalent of not letting them do the volcano project because you don't want them learning how to launch rockets. Y'all don't even know.
Yeah. Darn CRT. I don't know what a computer monitor has to do with anything. But yeah. I thought this was funny as shit too, by the way.
Dressed up like a woman, reading storybooks to children.
Hi, Marjorie. I do Drag Queen Storytime as Lady Bird Fancy Pants. I read books like Jack Not Jackie so that trans kids can be seen and feel loved. Stella brings the family to show that every family doesn't look the same. My shadow is pink to show kids that they can be whoever they want.
I'm sorry, I'm so angry right now, I'm about to blow up.
My magic breath to help kids know what to do with their anger. I highly recommend this one for you. I am Rosa Parks to teach kids our history and how we can be better by learning about it. And be kind, because everyone can use an upgrade to their empathy.
And it's not going to happen in our schools, and it's not going to happen in our libraries.
It is going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen whether you...
I think that's hilarious. Hilarious. And there's one thing that you always have to keep in mind. This played the other day on TikTok. It says, seeing younger queer people figuring themselves out 3 times faster than I did and owning it. When I see this, I'm like, fuck, man. This is everything that those of us that were advocates 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, like I was. Like, I'm amazed. I am so happy for the people that are transitioning now, that are going out into the world and being themselves, and in a major way. We laid the groundwork for this, and Melanie Davis says it's what we fought for. It's exactly what we fought for. And when I get down, because I live on Turf Island, I live in transgender critical island. When I get down, I just try to focus on this because it's the truth. These kids are living the lives that we only dreamt that we could have. I mean, we really wouldn't even dream about them because it was too it was something that you couldn't even think about, So, anyways, I thought I keep that front and center. By the way, I also wanted to point out this is
80 to 90% of what we learned in history class was a bunch of bullshit.
I love Truth Talk in the morning. Try this. Lies my teacher told me. James Lowen. Lies Across America. James Lowen. And the Mothership. Teaching what really happened. Just one woke sociologist. These are older basic books. There's so much more.
History is fucking full of bullshit.
What's an opinion you have that might piss some people off?
Now that I'm done with college, I officially hold a history degree, and that means that I have at least some warrant to talk about this. America is like comically evil. Like tie it to the train tracks evil. Like big phony mustache fucking over Latin America evil. Like lab coat and destroying the Middle East evil. Like imprisoning the Japanese evil. Like petting a cat so they can go into Vietnam and claim that they tried to attack us so we could go to war for profit evil. Like Dominican Civil War of 1965 evil. Like still practicing colonialism but just calling them territories to make it sound better evil. Like purposely not treating their own people of syphilis when they were dying but claiming that they were going to give them health care kinds of evil. Like being founded on slavery but people are trying to say that they're not evil. Like Hitler's gas chambers were inspired by what we did at the border evil.
That is so fucking on point. And the earlier one saying about history, that's on point as well. I wanted to play this.
This is the face of Chris Belcher, who pled guilty to raping 4 teenage girls. This is the face of Judge Matthew Murphy, who sentenced Chris Belcher to no jail time because after praying on it, he determined that incarceration would be inappropriate. Which is weird because I prayed on it and I felt like castration was appropriate. But nevertheless, as an attorney, I cannot rely on my feelings as justification for my legal conclusions. Instead, officers of the court must rely on the facts and the rule of the law as applied by precedent or statutory authority. Unfortunately, the state can only appeal the sentence if it's a clear violation of the law, but since Belcher's charges had no mandatory minimums, it would be really difficult to appeal his sentence. The efforts to remove Judge Murphy as a judge are misguided because he's set to retire in a couple of weeks. In any event, what happened in Chris Belcher's case is a symptom of a much larger problem. What we need to do is spread the word so that these 2 men do not get away with these heinous crimes. Do not forget that.
Yeah, that's so fucking hardcore. So hardcore. By the way, I think that's all serious topics for tonight. We want to slide down into Comedy Mountain. So I think we can do that now. I thought this one was pretty funny. It's from fucking Kellogg's.
Definitely don't look into John Harvey Kellogg and why cornflakes was made.
It's not Kellogg's themselves, but someone talking about Kellogg's.
What are you talking about? We're talking about breakfast cereal. Why is that controversial? I don't understand. Good white corn.
Oh, poo, the video's not working.
Excuse me? What do cornflakes have to do with eugenics? I don't understand how this could...
Kellogg's was a eugenicist.
Are there any other Nazi breakfast cereals I should know about? General Mills? Buddy?
Please don't be a Nazi. Please don't be a Nazi. Please don't be a Nazi. Please.
Phew! They spared you, Lucky Charms.
Let's see if that. Let's see if I don't know.
Definitely don't look into John Harvey Kellogg and why cornflakes was made. What are you talking about? We're talking about breakfast cereal. Why is that controversial? I don't understand. Excuse me? What do cornflakes have to do with eugenics? I don't understand how this could...
Are there any other Nazi breakfast cereals I should know about? General Mills? Buddy?
Please don't be a Nazi. Please don't be a Nazi. Please don't be a Nazi. Please.
Phew! They spared you, Lucky Charms.
Oh dear. Oh dear. By the way, British people, when it comes to taking the piss, making fun of their own politicians, oh my God, this one on Churchill is absolutely devastating.
Someone ought to put you in a mental hospital.
Someone should put you in a box floating down the river.
Oh, I do think it's funny when people talk about Nancy Reagan's grave being a gender neutral toilet. But it's the same type of thing. British people are so fucking harsh when it comes to dead politicians, and I'm there for it. Oh my God. So I found a punster, a trans punster on TikTok, and she is absolutely hilarious.
Milady, gentle them. Just hit them with the 3 Gs. Guys, girls, non-binaries. I think I'd rather die than be called that. My voice cracked. Oh, God.
Good non-binaries. That's kind of awful. What's this one?
Ain't no way in hell you could get me to go on one of these rides. Tell them you want to get off, sis. Tell them you want to get the fuck off. They never let people off these rides once they get on. Once you locked in, they're like, no, you going in this ride. Girl, you in now. You in for the ride. You better, nope, you locked in. Take a deep breath. Here you go. She already about to have a panic attack. Oh, Lord, and here you go. About 2 seconds in. Oh. It's the face for me. She saw God. She saw the heavens. She saw Jerusalem. She saw Babylon. She saw Jesus Christ himself. She saw the Holy Ghost. The Trinity. That unit is on. Let's say that. I'll say that unit's still on. I'm glad it didn't fly off. Girl, wake up. Queen, you okay? Queen, you okay?
She saw God. Oh God. This next one is from one of my favorite creators on TikTok.
So I'm sexting this guy, right? And I'm like, how big is it? And he goes, let's just say sometimes it accidentally touches the toilet bowl water when I'm sitting. And immediately I'm turned off. But then I'm like sitting here and I'm thinking about it. And I'm just a little curious. So 6 inches of toilet bowl plus average 3 inches after erection should equal about 9 inches. Interesting.
Oh my God. This is more, it's not so much funny as it is a word to the wise.
Just a reminder, if you see someone shoplifting, no, you didn't.
You didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. This isn't funny. Actually, I think this is on point though.
And social institutions of our society are neither free nor independent nor democratic. They are all run as corporations. And this begins to clear up a mystery. Why in all those years when the students would sit in and say this university is going the wrong way, why was it when the students said the university is violating its charter? Why is it the students couldn't call in the police to get rid of the trustees, but the trustees could call in the police to get rid of the students? Why was that? Here was a dispute between two private groups in a private institution in our pluralistic society, but state power came in consistently on the side of one of those groups. It was the group that owned the property. It was the protection of a class property interest against a clientele.
And I thought that was true. Not funny though. Not funny.
I see so many trans people on staff talk about their hormones, and I don't think I'm a whore yet, so I don't think my moans count, I can change that for you. Are you
you sure you want to end the bit there? I feel like the joke can keep going if you want.
Anyways, that's the show for tonight. Kind of short show. Cause I'm tired. I did a full night shift, or not night shift, a full 12 hours today, and then came down from the heavens to do this show for you. Was there any other videos that I was going to share with you? Oh, this one makes me laugh.
Literally is literally your favorite word.
Right. This is literally something that I have to stop myself from saying all the time. Literally.
Oh my God, that's a creepy angle, but it makes me laugh. By the way, you can go to Tea Party Podcast if you want to join the Patreon and you want to help me out. And just like Jonathan and David have done, that would be great. You can do it for as little as £1 a month, or $1. I think you can do. I don't know if you can do a krona. I'd be curious. Anyways. Oh, I got one more funny to play. Is this funny?
Until you get that faith, you're not on the same page as God. And therefore...
No.
Wonder Woman, tell me.
So this is it's not a joke. And back here it says, make the family great again. LMNOP plus. Oh my God. Lifestyle of mainstream, normal, ordinary people. And this isn't a parody.
All the world's waiting for you, and the power you possess. Caring for the youth, fighting for the truth, and the old red, white, and blue. Wonder Woman, tell me, now the world's ready for you.
That is an awful representation of Wonder Woman. Oh, but Linda Carter came out and supported trans people. Oh my God. But this is actually so awful.
Wonders you can do. Male and female facts, stop those in their tracks, make a liar tell the truth. Wonder Woman, get us out from under Taylor Green. You're a great pro-family advocate, and the good you demonstrate. Stop the leftist gold, make the monsters fold, change their mind, change the world. Wonder Woman, Taylor Green, make the family great again.
I can't top that. By the way, some random geek in the chat says, help out comrades if you have the means. CharityLinks.page. You can help the show out if you have the means. TeaPartyPodcast.com. Yeah. And Melanie, thank you for showing up on Facebook. I have considered getting rid of the Facebook video feed because nobody, well, you're one of the few that's used it. The main two places that people come to watch the show are Twitch and mainly YouTube. In the future, I'll have to decide whether the thing is, I like having my content in different places, but we are on Twitter. If you follow shut up, Mel. You're not old, because if you're old, that means I'm old. And that's just bullshit. So, yeah. So yes. In the future, I may make adjustments and not go on as many platforms. I do think the only thing that I don't like about Restream right now is that they only broadcast in 720p. But they are making some adjustments, and I'm starting to see some changes that I can make that are helpful. So we may stay with Restream, we may not. But anyways, I'm going to keep doing this show. I would be curious, for those of you that are listening right now, what would you think if I did a Christmas stream, like all day? Because I'm considering it. Because to be honest with you, I don't have anything to do for Christmas, so why the fuck not? Anyways, that's what I was thinking. Oh, good. Some random gig. Do you want to come on? If you want to come on during that day, I'll definitely do it if it's something that you're in for it. Oh, and Mel will call in. That'll be fucking awesome. And that'll give me something to shoot for as well, to integrate. Because honestly, I've been kind of wanting an easy way for people to be able to, like, quote, call in. I can do it on my phone here because it hooks up to my soundboard, and I can do that. So that's no problem. But I'm more concerned, and I just got another idea too. I have 2 phones now, 2 SIM cards, 2 phone numbers, so I could use one phone number for the show and for WhatsApp. And if people wanted to use WhatsApp or something like that, Signal, and they wanted to call the show, they could do it that way. So, anyways. That's what I'm thinking. A Christmas show, all day, or maybe 6 or 8 hours. I don't know. Right now, I don't know how long it's going to be. I was just trying to think about if there's, if people are going to want to do it, because I do. Anyways, that's the show for tonight. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. I don't know when our next show is going to be. My schedule is kind of so messed up. We'll do a show on Wednesday night, and we'll do a show on Saturday, which is Christmas. I don't know when it'll start, but I'll start working on it tonight. Long enough to touch the toilet water. Yes, that was funny. Anyways, I will see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you all for coming. And Some Random Geek, you have been missed. I do get these notifications where whenever you stream, and a lot of times I do watch them. Even sometimes I don't say anything. But solidarity, comrades. I love you guys. And oh, by the way, I am in the new year. Love you too, Mel. In the new year, I'm going to be doing a little bit, because I've never wanted this show to just be about anarchism or politics or whatever. I'm going to do some shows on Home Assistant, and I'm going to do some videos on Home Assistant, and I'm going to use this channel to do it. So we may have more techie type stuff sometimes. But I'm looking forward to the new year, actually, and maybe getting another 17 listeners by the end of next year. And maybe 3 patrons. Yay. Anyways, I love you guys. We will talk on Wednesday.
You're listening to The Tea Party, part of the Trans FM radio network.